Welcome to Your Business, Your Life with Matt DeFrancesco, your personal financial technician. Whether you've had years of success in your business or just starting out, Highlift Financial can help you create a vision for your business, life, and family, and align these for generational wealth. So as they say, what happens in your life affects your business. And now, on to the show. Well, hello and welcome again to Your Business, Your Life with me, Matt DeFrancesco. And, as I'm working with my clients, especially with their families, and we're trying to design this family vision that we want to implement to help them create multi-generational wealth. A lot of it is kind of looking at the family members and finding out what is their true genius? What do they want to accomplish in life? And where are their talents and skills? It's really about, I love the term that Matthew Kelly, who's a Catholic author and speaker, uses. He calls it the best version of themselves. And that's why I'm really excited to have my guest on today, Louie Sharp. Louie's a shop owner, but he's also a business consultant, a leadership coach, international speaker, and he's a renowned author. And a lot of what he talks about is finding this core genius that we have within ourselves. He's a Marine Corps veteran and also a habitual entrepreneur. He started his first business of many, which is Sharp Auto Bodies. You can see up on his screen at 23, and sold a few along the way. And like I said, his primary goal was to help people find their core genius. And again, it's helping people and businesses become that best version of themselves. So Louie has so much great information he wants to share with us that I know we're only going to be able to scratch the surface, but I'm really just excited to have a conversation with him here. So Louie, welcome to Your Business, Your Life.
Thank you, Matt. I'm happy to be here.
That's great. Well, I'm glad to have you here. And like I said, I'm really excited because this is one of the things, it's something I've had to explore in my own life. And a lot of times this is what I'm doing as I'm working with my clients, is helping them as a family find out what that core genius is that they have. But before we get started into that, I just wanted you to kind of briefly tell the audience how you went from the Marine Corps to a shop owner to a business coach.
Yeah, so that was a number of transitions there, but I got off of active duty and I flopped around, and I spent my youth building models. And so I got into the body shop industry because my dad was an old body man.
Okay.
And he got me in a shop as an apprentice. And then the owner stood up one day and said, I need to make $50,000 more for me this year, but I can't afford to give anybody a raise. That was the fuel that launched Sharp Auto Body. Okay. At that point, I stood up and said, thanks, but I don't want to play in your game. And so I started out on my own, and I was 23. And then around the 19-year mark, I was really frustrated with being a shop owner. Mm-hmm. So I knew how to fix cars, but I knew nothing about business. Mm-hmm. So then I started educating myself, going to classes, reading books, taking seminars, hiring coaches like yourself, realizing that people like you knew something I didn't know. And so that's how I started to really grow my business. And then that gave me the ability to buy and sell other businesses. I started 2 other businesses from scratch. Okay. And at some point I realized, much like you probably did, I've got all this wisdom, real world experience, and knowledge. Mm-hmm. I want to help people who are struggling. Just yesterday, I spoke at an event, Matt, mm-hmm. and there was a woman that stood up and said this. She's a business owner, and she heard somebody say that in his business, he lowered his price so he could serve more people.
Wow.
And I said, do you understand the insanity of that statement?
I know.
Right? But she had bought into this guy saying that. Mm-hmm. And my point to that is that what people like you and I are greatly needed, because there's people that know how to fix the car or how to make the apple pie in the E-Myth, right? But right. They don't know how to run a business. They don't know how to market. They don't know how to hire. And so that's one of the reasons why I now do it as well.
Right. It's interesting to say that because I'm finding that to be particularly important in the collision repair industry, because like you said, these guys they're like you, they were technicians, but they're not great business people. And I think they get to a point, and listen, the ones I run into kind of get to the point where they're maybe in their 50s and they kind of look up from under the hood and they go, holy crap, like, what am I going to do? I have no idea. And a lot of times they're frustrated also. It's interesting because I find there's kind of two areas of the spectrum. One is we've got the shop owners that are just completely frustrated with the industry, with their business, and just want to pack it up. And then I'm finding others that are really kind of taking the approach that you're talking about, looking at getting into personal development, starting to learn more about businesses, hiring coaches and consultants to do that. So I think that this space that you have and have created is really important in this industry, but also in many other industries.
Yeah, and it's become critical, I think, because it's really, especially in the collision repair industry, it's become a sink or swim kind of thing, right? And so at that point, if you don't have somebody on your side and you're one of those people that's living in frustration and or burnout, you're not going to make it because your mind's not open to. I can tell you, I believe right now there is more possibility and more profit to be made in the collision repair industry than there has been in decades.
Right. Oh, you know what? And I would agree with you. And as the progressive thinkers that I talk to are all feeling the same way, but I think there's still too many. That's why we want to get the message out, because I think there's still too many shop owners who are stuck in that old paradigm. So, I was listening to a podcast you did with Jen Kofel, and you guys were talking about this idea of this core genius. And I'm kind of thinking that it's similar to this best version of this of yourself that I was talking about earlier. And so I wanted to ask you, okay, so here's a shop owner that's out there that's listening to this. He's frustrated with his business. How does he go about finding that core genius?
Well, I would suspect he probably already has. He just doesn't know it. And I would tell you that I think that there is an intersection of these two topics. I think that your core genius is something you come into the world with.
Right.
The best version of yourself is what you work on becoming every day.
Gotcha.
And so when we talk about your core genius, I'll give you an example. Working with my hands has always been easy. And so also the satisfaction of watching something being all torn up, wrecked, and transforming that into a car that you can't tell was in an accident brings me a lot of joy. And so your core genius is already something that's in you. You just need to uncover it. And a couple of things I share with people is, what are you doing, or what do you do that you would literally do for nothing, for free, because it brings you so much happiness? And most of the time, core genius, it doesn't mean you don't have to work to get better, but it normally isn't hard. You and I have both been around people that we came into the industry and they were just awkward holding or handling tools. Right. Fixing cars isn't their core genius. And I love what you're doing with people specifically in their businesses. So I'll give you a good example. When you talk about generationally passing a business down, the father or the grandfather, the core genius could have very easily been that dad or grandpa has the ability to fix cars. Right. It was easy for them. They love it. They have a passion about it. Their core genius probably isn't financials or IT or marketing. Now, when you bring in the next generation, and this is where I think a lot of families and businesses make mistakes, right? So somebody thinks that, okay, junior, and we don't want to leave out the ladies because that's a possibility, right? But we think, okay, our daughter is going to be the next A-Tech. Probably not her core genius, but we're going to try and cram her into that slot. And then we have this disconnect, and then sometimes it'll break the family up, but at a minimum, that person, that next generation, leaves the business altogether. Right. Whereas if we'd have put the daughter or the son in the front office managing IT, social media, maybe estimating, sales, find their core genius, now we've set up a road for success, because we're letting them work where it's naturally gifted, And two, they have a passion for it because you're going to love what you do in your core genius.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting because I see this, and not just even in the collision repair business, but just about any business where the owner maybe is struggling or has some employees that are struggling. And one thing I've tried to get them to do is to maybe do some personality profiling with them. And, many times what you find out is maybe you have a customer service person who is not a people person, but maybe they're a good numbers person or technical. So we're having the problem with the employee because they're in the wrong seat, not because they're a bad person.
So I love you. I love you. I want to repeat, listen, everybody listens to this. I want to repeat back what Matt just said, because he was flipping brilliant. I'm serious. So there's a lot of personality testing out there, and that is using things that are outside your normal realm and things that you would never think of as an old school body man who's running a business. A program I use, a thing I'm sure you've heard of, called DISC.
Yes, that's one. Yeah.
Right. Personality profiling. And I can tell you that I would not take an S or a C person and put them out front in sales. But if I don't know they're an S or a C person, I'm putting them someplace, and now we got this conflict. And so that was brilliant, because most people that own a body shop are old body men, right? And they haven't left their shop. And I'll tie this real quick. They are maybe tied to DRP programs. So they haven't learned anything about marketing or sales. Right. And so, and back in the day when guys like you and I went into business, Matt, in the old days, you could hang up a shingle and people knocked on your door. Mm-hmm. Well, those days are long gone. Yeah. And I believe the DRP model is long broken.
Oh, no doubt. It's funny you mentioned that. I just had this conversation yesterday with a shop owner, and he's very big into following OEM guidelines, which can be in conflict with what the insurance companies have too. Sometimes the insurance companies wants to use. He actually told me a story where they had a GM vehicle front end collision, and the insurance company wanted them to fix the steering column. Well, he went into the OEM regs and said, no, you've got to replace it because this thing is designed to collapse for the safety of the passengers. And so what he's done with his people is starting to teach them how to educate the customer on what their rights are and how to go back to the insurance company and say, no, this is how this is supposed to be done. And I have a right to have the vehicle repaired in the way that the manufacturers designed it.
And so, man, I love you, brother. I don't know how we ever crossed paths before. So my shop's doing the same thing. Now, here's the interesting thing. When you repair a vehicle correctly with the OEM requirements and the inspections. So in that same vehicle, GM says you have to pull the dash and inspect the support beam behind the dash. Okay. GM says you have to drop the headliner and inspect all the mounting points for the roof to the vehicle, and a number of other things. But here's what's really cool, and this is the proof in the pudding to what I just said. The average RO in the industry for a shop that's doing OEM required repair procedures has doubled. It's gone from an average of $2,500 to $3,000 to $6,000.
Wow.
So now your RO just doubled. You could cut your car count in half and still keep your sales and profit exactly the same. And when you get into the OEM repair procedures, you're actually billing more mechanical time at a much higher rate that they never, ever push back on.
And that's fascinating because, especially as things are getting more and more specialized, I think shop owners are going to have to look at saying, look, we can't just take any car anymore. I mean, this is just kind of what I'm seeing in the industry is I can see today where all of a sudden a shop says, look, all we do is Euro luxury, or all we do is domestic truck, or maybe even very specific down to brand specific, depending on their demographic.
Well, so I can tell you, so again, I'm going to repeat this for the third time and then I'll stop beating your drum. but seriously, so you just touched on something, a decision that I made probably back 3 or 4 or 5 years ago already. So I made a decision. Now I made a decision based on information, mm-hmm. and my market search supplied by my paint supplier, but I am not going after European certifications.
Okay.
Because in my market, there aren't a lot of Mercedes Benzes running around.
Right.
There aren't a lot of high-end Audis. I've made a decision not to fix Teslas at all.
Oh,
Tesla has no markup on parts. Parts are really hard to get if you can get them.
Okay.
And it's not worth the aggravation. So I've made a conscious decision. I'm not fixing Teslas. If you come to my shop, I'll send you to somebody and say, go to a certified Tesla shop, but that's not what we're fixing. And this is a great business decision because now I can turn cars faster that I'm certified to do, get paid more money, and make more profit.
That's awesome. It's something that kind of popped into my head because, you know, you're talking about how you transition your business. And so I kind of give you a hypothetical here. So let's say I've got a shop owner and, you know, he's looking at the transition, the next step in his business. And he's got his kids that are involved. And let's say they're decent business people, but these changes are kind of coming across the horizon. What would you recommend that they look to do to try to catch this wave?
I can tell you, if they plan on being in business, they don't have an option. They need to catch this wave right now.
Okay.
And I can tell you, and if they're catching it now, they need to realize that they're going to have to commit on the light side somewhere between $100,000 to $250,000 based on what equipment they have in their shop right now.
Okay.
And I can tell you that I could spend all day on this, but I can tell you that much like Tesla, there's things coming down the pipeline where you're not going to be able to buy a radiator support unless you're always certified to repair that vehicle.
Right.
And the OEs are now starting to get into the insurance business. And so what's going to happen for Cadillac already has this in place. Nissan's got it in a couple of models where when you get into an accident, OnStar is going to come on and say, Matt, we understand you've been in an accident. Do you need an ambulance? You're going to say, no, I'm okay. They're going to next say, well, Matt, we know your headlight's broken. The radiator's leaking. Your car's not safe to drive. Here's 3 OEM certified body shops within a 10-mile radius. Do you have a choice? No, I don't. Then we're going to tow it to the one that's the closest. Wow. Great. A tow truck's on the way. And because the OEMs want to sell OEM parts. Right. They're looking to cut the insurance company out of that decision process altogether, and they're going to make it happen.
That's amazing. Well, they've got the dollars to do it.
They do. They do.
Big time. So yeah. And I think that's where I'm fortunate. One of my clients who's a body guy, and it's actually interesting. In learning his story, I was asking him, like, how'd you get involved in this? And he actually went to technical school and he was studying HVAC and body, and he wasn't sure. He thought he was going to go into HVAC, and then a guy was looking for, you know, somebody to help him in his shop, and and that's how the thing naturally evolved. But he's a natural entrepreneur, but he thinks that his kids think the same way as he does, and that's been a matter of conflict that we've been kind of working through. So in a situation like that so now you've got kids that they want to take over the business, but they don't quite have maybe the same leader or entrepreneurial mentality, leadership. What can they do?
Get out of the building. And by that, I mean, there's a great program in Texas called Discover Leadership. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it.
No, I'm not. Yeah.
It's a 4-day program that's life-changing. But my point is, get out of the building. When I went out to California for a management training course, Management Success, not sure if you've heard of them, but yes, get out of the building, start reading books, go to personal development seminars, hire people like you, get some outside information, and then check your ego at the door, shut up and do what they tell you. One of the things I tell people all the time, one of my favorite quotes is by Jim Rohn: you can't hire other people to do your push-ups for you. But one of the things, you've been down this road, I've got a very intricate interview screening process, because I'm not going to let you hire me to consult you to grow your business. Right. If you've never worked with a coach before, if you're not prepared to do the push-ups, because you're going to go badmouth the world and say, Louie sucks as a consultant. The reality is, you just didn't put your face in the dirt and do your push-ups.
Amen.
And so get out of the building and start doing your push-ups, because, and here's something that's really interesting, right? Why is there this grand illusion that the automotive repair industry is at some sort of technical standstill when the rest of the world is at breakneck technology innovations daily?
Right.
And the collision repair industry is no different.
Right.
So if you're thinking that it's not moving, you're already way behind. And at some point, if you don't start moving now, it's going to be really hard to catch up and get in the game.
I can see that. I mean, there's a lot of dollars that are floating around there right now. And what do they say? There's people that are making things happen. There's people that are watching things happen. And then there's people that are wondering what is happening.
Right. They have no idea what's going on.
Exactly. And I think you want to get the head of that curve. And I loved what you said about, getting out, developing leadership skills. I was telling a story to a previous guest where I've been a personal development junkie for 30 years. Okay. And I was talking to a shop owner one time, and most of the guys that I run into are not great readers. They're not like, they'd rather go fish or hunt or ride their motorcycles, things like that. But I started talking about these books that I was reading. And then finally I got him to start reading. And then he kind of he really got into it, and he started reading all these books. Well, then he started getting his team reading the same books, and they've started what they call the Book of the Month Club. So they all get the same leadership book.
Clayton in Kansas.
That's him.
I know him. I just had him. We do a podcast, a Facebook Live thing on Thursdays. Yeah. We just had him on. So I'm going to share something with your audience. I can tell you that great leaders are readers.
Right.
Great innovators are readers. And great business people are readers. And this is one of the things I share with people. I do not have a college degree. Mm-hmm. I graduated from high school, went right in the Marine Corps. I currently, my fee, and I'm not saying this to impress you, but to impress upon you, mm-hmm. My fee for a 1-hour keynote is $10,000.
Wow.
And I tell people that's because I read every day. Mm-hmm. Every day for at least 20 minutes, I read every day. And the reason why they pay me so much money is because I have information that they don't have. They could have read the books. And here's something that's really interesting from a book I'm reading right now called The 4-Hour Workweek, which I highly recommend.
Yep.
And he says, if you read the top 10 books in a topic, you read 3 of those top 10 books, you are now an expert on that topic.
Yeah.
This isn't hard. And
No.
I'll share this with you. I know Will Smith was on the Tonight Show when he was doing the promo for the movie, the Independent Day, and he was playing a Marine Corps officer as a pilot. And Jay Leno asked him, "What's your secret to success?" And Will Smith said, "Running and reading." And Jay Leno, instead of making fun or being a comedic guy and making fun of it in some way, right, said, "What do you mean?" And Will Smith said, "When I had to get into shape for this movie, I realized my body would run further than my mind thought it would." And he said, "I don't care who you are or what your problem is. Somebody in the world has had it. They figured out the solution and they put the answer in a book."
Right. Yeah. People have heard the expression, experience is the best teacher. And I always say experience is not the best teacher. It's the most expensive teacher. But other people's experience is the best teacher.
Amen, brother. And again, you're on fire, Matt. Because I'm serious, because if people would get this 30 minutes, if they took these 4 or 5 things that you've brought up and they literally took them to heart and started living by them every day, they would be blown away in 90 days how much different their life would be.
Oh, yeah.
Literally in 90 days, their life would be different. And this is what I share with people. You could, now this, to your same point, you could read a book, or I could hire you and you could teach me everything that you know and have learned about sex. Mm-hmm. But until I go have the experience, I got no flipping idea.
That's right.
Right. And it's the truth.
Yeah.
And so it becomes this balance of, you have to have the wisdom and the knowledge, but until you go experience it, you don't believe it to be your truth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The things that we're saying, we know are the truth. We know they work because we've worked them. We've shared them with other people and they've worked for those people.
Right.
But the people that are listening to this and they're still living that skeptical brain of theirs thinking, yeah, that may work for some people, but not for me. You're absolutely right. It's never going to work for you because you're going to go home, crack open another beer, turn on TV, and then wonder why your life sucks because you're not doing anything different.
Exactly. I mean, I hammer my kids all the time about, always trying to grow, always trying to progress. And, that's the word. I went through a period in my life where I was having a pity party, and I tell them, I said, I've been through that and it's miserable. You never want to go through that.
Right.
So, it's interesting, and I'm kind of shift gears, but I think this still falls along the same lines that we're talking about, because when we kind of did our intro call, we talked a little bit about the tech shortage and how to address that. And you made a comment about how, shop owners now are going to have to grow their own. So I want you to talk a little bit about that, but also how this idea of personal development for those techs can also help them.
Sure. So let's go back to what we're talking about, core genius.
Right.
So if I'm going to go start growing my own techs, they're not hard to find. I'm going to go hang out at some of those. So first off, I can go to vocation schools because they're already there, right? They're living in their core genius because they like cars. They have a passion about cars. But what about connecting to some of these car clubs where they're taking these little Asian imports and they're putting lights on them. They're putting spoilers, hot engines, and fuel injecting them. Here's a bunch of young people, and what do they call? There's a term for it when they slide those cars. There's something.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, but anyways, and my point is this is a whole group of people that you can find easily on social media who are hanging out, who are working on their own cars, who have a passion about cars that would love to be in this industry. They're already there. They've already discovered their core genius. They've already found their passion. Now, when you add things like personal development, I can tell you, I pull my staff aside all the time and I'll give them a book, or I'll teach them something about how to start saving or investing their money and do those kinds of things. And now you stick them to you for life because you're not telling them, hey, sweep the shop faster. You're telling them this is how you make more money outside of fixing a car. I'll tell you just a quick story. I had a young guy, young tech, who I'm growing from a detailer. He's already now hanging quarters by himself in a year and a half.
Wow.
Yeah. And he came to me and said, so he was having some issues. And so my GM pulled him aside right away. My GM was wanting to go, hey, what do you need with more training? What's the matter? Blah, blah. And I said, hang on a second. I said, Mike, what's going on with you? What's bothering you? And he said, my mom has been living in a camper in a campground and winter's coming and she has to move and has no place to go.
Oh, wow.
I said, is anything else bothering you? He said, no, but that's really heavy on my mind. My mom raised me. At one point, we were homeless, living in a car. I want to help take care of my mother. I went to my network. Now, this is the power of having a network. I went to my I called a realtor I know. I said, hey, Becky, I got an employee. His mom's looking for a house to rent. This is the price range. Less than a week, I had a house for her to rent.
Wow.
So not only personal development, but you pour your network into your employees, and like I said, you'll glue them to you for a long time, and because you're making their life better everywhere.
I love that. I love that idea because again, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. And I think you're doing those things that are outside the realm of business that has an impact on people.
It does. And so I'll share this with you. And this is my golden nugget for you and for the audience.
Okay.
If you're a leader of a team, I don't care whether it's a collision shop, a pie manufacturer, you're making widgets, you're whatever it is. If you can't right now sit down and write down the book that you would give to each employee that you know that they're something that they're passionate about outside of the industry or the job they're doing, you don't know your team and you're not leading the way you have the potential to lead.
That's an awesome nugget. I think that's fantastic.
Thank you for saying that. But guess what? I didn't come up with that. I got that out of a book called 11 Rings, written by Phil Jackson, who has 11 championship rings. And every season, he would buy each player on the team a book. Okay. But it was a book for what they were interested in. So he would give one of them Zen meditation. He wouldn't give Michael Jordan Zen meditation. He gave Michael Jordan a book on golf.
Right.
Right. Uh-huh. And so if you know your team that well, then you've got a lot of good things already going on.
Exactly. I think that's fantastic. And I think, the better we get to know our people, the more they know that we care. Boy, that does so much to just lift everybody and really build that culture. And, it was interesting. One thing that kind of popped in my head, you were talking about searching for people. Well, I'm seeing on social media, a lot of young women who are getting into collision repair, paint stuff. I'm watching them paint all the time, it seems like. And I'm thinking that might be just an untapped market that a lot of shop owners aren't even thinking about.
So let me correct you. That is an untapped market.
Okay.
That is an untapped market, but for so many reasons. But the biggest one is because women bring things to the table that men don't have.
Right.
And one of those things is intuition. Whenever I hire somebody, I have them interview with a couple of us, but at least two of the women in my organization interview them. And Matt, I only ask the women one thing. How did that person, male or female, how did they make you feel?
Oh.
And a woman's intuition won't lie to her. And a woman's intuition will say, Louie, that guy gave me the creeps. Don't hire him. Louie, that gal was weird. I don't hire her. Just based on especially if I get two women that say I didn't get a good vibe, I don't hire them. And I've never regretted it. Never regretted it. And the one time that I overrode it, I regretted it.
Okay. So the lesson in this, man, listen to your wives, right?
well, it also, because when they're speaking from a place called intuition,
right,
it's very powerful.
And they seem to be much more sensitive to that than sometimes us men are. I never even thought about that point of it. So I think that's really great. So anyway, I'm getting close on time here. Man, Louie, we could go on so many things. I'd love to have you back at some point. But so we know you're a speaker, you're a coach. How do people find you?
It's pretty easy. I'm all over Facebook under just Louie Sharp. LouieSharp.com. You can track me down, Sharp Auto Body. I've got a fair amount of stuff out there. I've got a YouTube channel. I've got a YouTube channel that I do a lot of leadership videos. All that stuff's free. Yeah, so there's lots of ways. I'm not hard to find. If you really want to find me, I'm out there.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have a lot of this stuff in the show notes anywhere, but I need to give you a chance to do some self-promotion here. So,
well, thank you. I appreciate that.
But I hope you'll be on again sometime because, like I said, I think we just scratch. There's so many different areas that we can go into, and like you said in the very beginning, most shop owners, they're good technicians, but they're not great business people, and these are a lot. Even just some of the few things that we talked about today can really advance your business 100-fold. So I'd love to have you on at some other point. So I appreciate you being on.
Yeah, I'm humbled and honored to be here. Thanks again for having me. And sure, I'd love to come back because, we took off right from the beginning. We got a lot of synergy and we're really like-minded. And so if you've got the opening, I'm happy. I know you've got a team, have them reach out to me and we'll get another date on the calendar. I'm happy to help.
No problem. As a matter of fact, I actually, so I started this mastermind group with a couple different industry experts and people that are passionate about the industry. And we're actually looking to put together a forum where shop owners can email in or text in, or we're going to do Facebook Live too, where they can come in and we'll answer questions for them. And we're looking to have guests on it too, that can help to contribute to. And I'd love to have you on that also.
Yeah, I'd love to, because I can tell you, we haven't even gotten close to some things I could share about marketing and networking and things that you can do to grow, especially a collision repair shop that most shop owners aren't thinking of, have never tried.
Yeah. And I think the big thing is there's so much negativity out there in this industry, and we want to help it progress. And we want to help those shop owners that are saying, I'm drowning, help me, to throw them a life preserver. And I think that's really what we're looking to do.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I love your attitude, because I come from the same place. There's plenty of work for everybody. And I think it's our job to pay it forward because somebody gave me a hand up, somebody gave you a hand up.
Right.
And that's what people like you and I are looking to do. So yeah, I'd be happy to be involved in the mastermind too, because again, and here's the beauty of this. I can't show up and talk to a guy like you without learning something too.
Right.
Right. And so I learn every day, and I learn from I mentor high school kids. I learn from them. I get on podcasts with experts like you.
Right.
I get to learn from you. And guess what? I paid for it. Just my time.
Right.
I just showed up to give back, and I get something in return.
That's the power of masterminds. I mean, we kind of pull all the collective minds together, and it's amazing. I've been involved in masterminds for 10 years, and it's one of the most powerful things that I do. But again, Louie, thank you for being on. I really appreciate it. The last thanks goes out to you, the audience. Thank you for being on Your Business, Your Life with me, Matt DiFrancesco. If you've not subscribed to the podcast, please click the subscribe button below. That way, when a new episode comes out, it'll download directly to your device, and it'll make it easy for you to listen and also to share with your family and friends. Also, if you're a shop owner that is looking at a business succession plan, transitioning your business, or just, isn't sure quite how to navigate some of the financial goals that you have, you can go to my website, highliftfinancial.com, click on the Let's Talk button on the home screen, and you can get right on my calendar. I give everybody 20, 30 minutes of my time, no charge. And the one thing I always promise is, even if I can't help you, I promise I'll get you pointed in the right direction. It may be to somebody like Louie, but that's the one promise I want to make to everybody. So, and also, if you like what you're hearing or seeing on YouTube, please give us a 5-star review. That way, we kind of move up on the charts, and we can get this great information and these great guests to more people. So with that, I want to thank you for listening to Your Business, Your Life. Thank you, Louie, for being my guest. It was awesome. And let's make every day your best day. So take care and God bless. Hey, I really want to thank you for listening to the Your Business, Your Life podcast. If you want to be notified when new episodes become available, click the subscribe button below.
The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of High Lift Financial. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investment, legal, or tax advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified professional with any questions you may have regarding your business or personal planning. DiFrancesco Financial Concierge, LLC, DBA High Lift Financial, is a registered investment advisor. Registration with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission or any state security authority does not imply a certain level of skill or training.